So how easy is it for someone to kind of detect when someone has a problem, and like how early should they probably bring it to you, or is it usually the family that notices, or sometimes they like nothing's wrong and it's someone outside that notices, or how do they get those steps to contact someone to get the help they need?
Well, sometimes it's the doctor,
Okay, gotcha.
the pediatrician,
Yeah,
because there are developmental milestones that a child should
needs
reach
to reach
as they come 3 months, 6 months,
Right.
9 months, 12 months.
right,
And if you have a child that's coming to see you and the doctor's saying, okay, this kid is not babbling, he's not making any sounds, he's not looking at you, tracking you when you're talking, moving his head, to your voice or whatever, then you know something's not quite right.
Right. And then that's when they try to kind of find out, is it the hearing, is it the
Right,
speech, or what's going on from
They
there?
rule out the hearing. They try to do that before they're actually. Of course, we work with hearing impaired students as well.
Right.
But the doctor is crucial, and sometimes it's the parent, because they've had children before, and they're like, "Wait a minute,
something ain't right."
Mary was talking and saying "Mama" and "Daddy" when she was 10 months old, 12 months old, and now Harry is not saying anything. He just sits there and says nothing all day.
Yeah. So
Doesn't reach for anything. He's not making a bid for communication with you. He's
no type of nothing.
Right. So, parents are the persons that are really gonna see it first. But not all parents know when it's delayed and when it's not, because
it could be their first child and they may just think it's normal for them to not speak or anything
right.
yet.
And then a family member might
That's
say,
when they probably step in.
Have you taken him to the doctor?
Yeah, try to give him kind of a hint to go get it checked out. Okay. So let's talk about some of the communicative disorders that you deal with, like because there's several different categories. So let's just go through some of them, like articulation. What would articulation be when you work with them?
Articulation is a speech sound disorder.
Yeah.
Where some students come in and they're substituting the t sound for the k sound.
Okay.
Instead of saying cap, they might say tap.
Okay.
Or it could be reversed. It could be, instead of saying tap, they might say cap.
Yeah.
Or instead of saying cat, they might say tat.
Gotcha.
So that's just it's not simple, because some kids, they omit sounds, which makes the intelligibility of their speech even more difficult to understand.
Yeah. Whereas like their family would understand because they've been with them the whole time, so they know what they're saying. But when they get in general public or classes, a teacher's probably not going to understand. Maybe even some of the students will understand them from being around them, but for the public, they wouldn't understand or why they're omitting certain things.
And that's just a mild case. We have some kids that have severe articulation disorders, where they might omit all of the middle sounds. They might omit all of their ending sounds. Yeah. Some might be making substitutions for all of their... And when I say sounds, I'm talking about consonant sounds. Some kids, very few kids have difficulty with the vowel sounds.
Right, the vowel
but some even do that. So, we work with that too. Yeah. But that is where early detection
is key.
Right? Because if you can work with them when they're young, then
it's easier.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if it becomes a habit, it's so hard to break it.
Right. Definitely. Okay, so that's articulation. What about voice? What does that consist
now,
of?
Now, voice is a disorder that we can only work with them if we have a doctor's order.
So the doctor would have to diagnose that and write them an order? Or
well, they would have to say, okay, this child has vocal nodules, or it could be anything on the vocal cords that could cause a voice disorder, which might make the kid's voice hoarse or harsh or breathy, or sometimes you even have kids that have too much nasality in there, and some don't have enough hypernasality. So that's a big range, and only a doctor can make sure that there's no obstruction in there. So that's why you have
first. Right.
And we can just work on the symptoms. The doctor works on the
pretty much like the backside of
etiology.
Everything. Okay, what about fluency?
Fluency is one of the areas that caught my attention when I was a child.
Okay.
I have some family members, I said, that stutter.
Okay,
Fluency
so
and
that's
stuttering
got you.
is basically the same thing. It's just different terminology that's used. But
basically be able to talk fluently without stopping and repeating words over and over
without
again.
the repetition of the single sounds, or repeating the whole phrase, repeating the whole word. Some of those concomitant expressions, sometimes fluency kids or adults, you'll see them or hear them make ticking sounds trying to get it out, or you might see them moving their hands around their face, or tapping their body, trying to get it out, because it's not easy. There's what we call normal repetitions. We all do it. You know, we're looking for a word, and we're like,
I know, yeah. So that's normal.
Yeah.